Okay, so welcome everybody to today's presentation. Just a couple of housekeeping things as we start. If you could just keep yourselves on mute as the presentation is going on, and then feel free, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself to ask any questions that you might have, or if you feel more comfortable and want to use the text, you can do that and I could get those questions over to Monique. So I am just going to do an introduction here. Just bear with me for 1 second here. Okay, so as owner of both Success with Digital and Big Ups Consulting, Monique is a huge supporter of training and educating on all things marketing. A champion of digital marketing for small businesses and corporations alike, she's been able to consistently drive revenue growth for clients. She's able to take complex ideas and explain them in easy to understand terms. She hosts webinars, live streams, and more, teaching those in community and beyond how to properly implement digital marketing. Monique is committed to helping businesses succeed and is actively involved in the digital marketing scene. She's certified trainer and elite coach with DigitalMarketer, CSI coach with the Center of Social Innovation, and TAB speaker and mentor with the World Trade Center Toronto. So welcome, Monique.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today and talk about CRMs, which sales processes and sales flows are one of the things that I'm uber passionate about, which you'll probably see as I talk throughout this presentation. I will jump in. So what I am talking about today is launching CRMs and marketing automation for sales success. And so this will work if you're B2B, business to consumer, if you're service-based, or even if you're retail or e-commerce based. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. So you can just let me know if
for some reason you
can't see it, but
yeah, it's good.
Awesome, perfect. So as Lori said, my name's Monique, and I am the founder of Big Ups Consulting and Success with Digital. I am a trainer and coach with DigitalMarketer. They're the largest digital marketing education company in North America. I have been helping businesses launch both on location and digitally since 2006. And I love to share my knowledge. So if at any point throughout this workshop you have questions or want me to clarify, feel free to let me know and I will dive into all the questions towards the end. So some of the things that you can expect from this training is I'm going to run through what is a CRM. I'll go through CRM basics, some setup considerations, what is marketing automation, how your business can use marketing automation, different platforms for different goals, as well as some clerical automations, email and marketing automation examples. I'll go through sales automations as well. And we'll just talk quickly about how to get staff buy-in when launching new automation systems. And then I have a few CRM workflow examples. All right. So what is a CRM? You hear it as an acronym a lot. We just call it CRM, but CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. So it's essentially a software or program that allows you to manage your relationship with your prospects, clients, and even your team. So CRMs are typically used to safely and centrally store all of your contacts. They help you to track sales opportunities, activities, and scheduled plans all in one place. It helps salespeople to optimize their daily schedules and prioritize tasks to make sure customers are not ignored and key prospects are contacted on time. And that's probably one of the most important things that I like about having a CRM in place is that, especially if you're kind of a person that wears multiple hats in a business, it can be really difficult to maintain those relationships with prospects. And so having a CRM and having some automation in place helps to alleviate some of that workload. And then depending on the features, a CRM might also be used for client billing as well. So some of the benefits of using a CRM are tracking those contacts and customers, including multiple data points, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. trustworthy reporting. And so that would be in comparison to if you didn't have a CRM in place and you're just trying to think about, oh, how many leads did I have come in this month? How many sales potential revenue do I have coming in? It allows you to have this trustworthy reporting that you can somewhat have prediction on the revenue that you're going to be bringing in. With CRMs, they typically have dashboards that visually showcase that data, and there's improved messaging with automation as well. And then it'll help you have proactive service and efficiency, which is enhanced by automations. And it helps to have simplified collaboration as well between team members. So within a CRM, there's typically a few data points. And so when you think of a business to business CRM, typically this is the structure that you would see. Within the CRM, there's accounts or companies, and then within that company, there will be different contacts. So maybe you have one company and then there's multiple contacts that are assigned to that, maybe an HR manager, maybe an on-site manager, maybe there's, supervisors, that kind of thing that you contact within that company. And then assigned to those contacts are deals. And so if you do more of a B2B sales, you might have a deal, say if you're a website designer, a deal might be for a company, you're talking to the manager and they're inquiring about a website project. And so that would be the deal. So within the CRM, there's typically these kind of built-in, baked-in data points where for a company, you'll focus on the address, phone number, description. Sometimes you might want to track the number of employees, the annual revenue, and then the industry and the vertical that they're in. Typically with contacts, some of the information that you might want to track is their email address, their actual physical address, their phone number, their account, tags, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and then lists, which I'll also talk about in a little bit. Within deals, within a CRM, these are some of the data points that you'll typically see. So there'll be a title for the deal, there'll be a description, there'll be a deal owner. So if you have a sales team, there might be multiple salespeople. One of those salespeople would be assigned this deal. They would be the deal owner. And then a forecasted close date, the deal potential revenue, the lead acquisition cost, so what it's going to cost you to acquire that person, and then the status of that deal. So if it's on hold, if they've been sent a proposal or a contract, you can track the status of a deal as well. So when it comes to a good CRM will allow you to track data in a way that's useful for your company. And so if you're just kind of getting started with CRMs and you're not really sure where to look, don't just land on the first CRM that you find. Really take a look at how you want to be able to interact with people, what kind of data you want to be able to collect from people, and find a CRM that suits your needs. So I'll just go really quickly through kind of a sales pipeline example. The example that I'm showing right now is in ActiveCampaign. So I am an ActiveCampaign partner and I do love it as a CRM. It's also an email marketing platform, and sometimes you'll find hybrids like that. And I'm going to go through some other examples as well. But within this account, you can see that at an account level, those are all the data points that they have. Within a CRM, you can also add custom data points. So say for a company, we would want to know what side of town that they were on, or what area of town. We could add a field to the account level and say area of town. On the contact level, this would be the information that you would hold. So for this particular example, this was an HVAC company that we helped set up their CRM. And on the contact level, they had the address of the business, which they had multiple locations. So the address for the company was their main head office, but the contact that they were dealing with was at a different office. So they needed to have some unique information collected about that particular contact. So we added a custom field where we could put in their billing address. Now, on the deals section, this is where we got really custom because they were an HVAC company, which is a heating and cooling company, and they needed to know a lot more information about the deal side of things within their CRM. And so there was all the information that was in the deal that came kind of turnkey with the platform, but then they needed to know what information, specific information about the equipment that was on site. What kind of heater did they have on site? When was it installed? When was the last maintenance done, and that type of information. And so we were able to add within CRM that type of information. So when they add a deal into their CRM, that anyone that looks at this deal would be able to tell what kind of project it is and what type of information. So when you're looking at a CRM and you're looking to implement it and you have this sales process, typically one of the first things that we do is look at what are all the kind of stages or steps within a sales process. And then we set up the CRM with those stages. And so you can see in this example that this company had a few stages. So there's prospects. So those are people that they're interested in doing business with, or maybe they filled out a form on their website and they come in as a prospect. Then they move to the to contact. This is where all the salespeople can see all of the leads that need to be contacted. Then there's a next stage that's in contact, proposal requested, proposal sent, and then usually a deal won, deal lost. So you can typically within a CRM be able to see all of your potential deals and to see where they are, see what kind of bucket or stage that they're in by looking within the CRM. One of the cool features that I like about ActiveCampaign, and this is available in other CRMs, is to be able to look and see visually how many people are in the CRM, but looking at a sales funnel way. So you can see here that there's prospects, to contact, in contact, on hold, proposal requested, proposal sent, follow-up number 2, and then deal done. But this is a really neat way to be able to see, okay, we had out of all of the deals that came through, 129 deals, we had, out of almost 200 deals that came through the CRM, 60% of them are won. So that's one of the things that I really like about a CRM is that you're able to track those type of metrics and to see who's selling the most, where there's deals that are kind of lingering as well. So now I'm going to go through a retail and e-commerce CRM example. And this example is Klaviyo. Klaviyo integrates well with Shopify. So if anyone has a Shopify store here, it's fully integrated, and there's a lot of information that you can collect about customers. And so here I'm able to see within this CRM what people are ordering, when they visited the site last, the different channels that they've subscribed to, whether it's email or text. I can also look at how many orders they've placed in the last 30 days and also all time, how much revenue they've spent, and also different informations like lists and segments, which I'll explain what those are in a little bit. But this is an example of more of a retail CRM example. But what's really cool about having a CRM is you can also create segments. And so what that means is of all of the people that you have, all of your contacts, you can put them into segments or buckets where you can send information specifically to them. And so some of the segments that we created in this CRM are SMS subscribers, so people that have subscribed to text, repeat buyers, unengaged, win back opportunities. So this is really cool if you have any type of retail store, is when it comes to a win back opportunity, we can say that we want someone to get added to this segment if they've placed at least one order in all of time, but they haven't placed an order in the last 180 days. And what this allows us to do through automation is to say, hey, this person hasn't shopped in a while, let's send them an automatic email. And so it allows you to follow up with people and to stay connected with them, even if they've kind of dropped off a little bit. So what I'm going to do is go through some CRM basics and just talk about what the different functionalities are within it. So the first thing are lists. So what is a list? A list is the primary purpose of a list is to segment your contacts at the broadest level possible. So contacts can subscribe and unsubscribe from lists, and you can create lists on typically the list page of your account. So whether you're using MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, or any other CRM, there's usually a list section and you can create them there. Then you need a way to be able to add people to that list. And you do that oftentimes with a form. So a form can be used to help you grow your contact base. And depending on the type of form you could create, you can collect very basic information, such as a name and email address, or you can even collect a lot of information such as birthdays, phone numbers, and any special interests that you might want to know more about. So once you create that form, you'll be presented with different ways to integrate it into your web assets. So you can either share a link to the form, you can integrate it with WordPress or whatever website you're using, or you can oftentimes, through these different platforms, add a form to your Facebook page and have people sign up for your newsletter or join your CRM easily through social channels as well. So form for me, I have a client that has a home improvement store. It's a TimberMart TimberMart store, and they have 3 locations. So part of their email sign up form that they have on their website is a field that says which location is like, what's your closest location, and we'll have the 3 locations listed so that when we add them to the CRM, we're able to tag them with that location. So if there's any news or promotions that are happening specifically at that location, we're able to segment that list and send it out so that we're not sending information to people that won't find that information relevant. All right, so what are tags? Tags are my ultimate favorite part of a CRM because it allows you to do so much with the information based on how people are interacting with your content. So people create tags to enable a deeper level of segmentation beyond what's available with traditional email marketing services. So generally, tags will either help you stay organized or cause an action, and sometimes they do both. So I'll give you an example of when I would use a tag. I have, for this particular training, I have on my website a workbook that people can download. When they go to download it, they get added to my CRM. Then I add the tag CRM workbook to that contact. And when that tag gets added, they get added to an email automation that will then follow up and ask if they have any questions and also give them more tips on using that workbook. So that's an example of how tags can identify people. So I can look in and see of all the contacts who has downloaded the CRM workbook, but then it can also trigger emails when that tag gets added. So the 3 main uses for tags are organization, serving as a start trigger, and then also showing conditional content. And so I'll give you an example of conditional content. In a membership site, say there's 3 different levels of a membership. There's silver, gold, bronze, silver, and gold. Someone signs up to a silver and vice versa. If you were to send out an email to your membership list and you only want a piece of that email to only show to silver members, if they had a tag assigned to them, you within your CRM would be able to say, only show this to people if they have the silver tag. And so it allows you to create really robust emails without having to create multiples for each level. You can create one main email and have sections that just only show to those particular people. All right, so when it comes to triggers, triggers are conditions that start automations. So with them, you're able to specify exactly how contacts will be added to automations so that they can proceed through the workflow that you've set up. You can have multiple triggering conditions so that the same automation starts in multiple ways. All right, so when it comes to segmentation, I've talked about this a little bit already, but essentially segmentation is the act of grouping your contacts by either attribute or action. The purpose of a segmentation is really to bring more personalization into your marketing. And so I have an e-commerce company called Moonbeam Healing where we sell crystals, and within that site, we have a loyalty club. And so I have all of the people that are part of my loyalty club tagged as loyalty. And so when I want to run a promotion or have a contest and it's only available to loyalty people, I can segment them with that tag and say, this is only going to people with the loyalty tag. So I know that it's only going out to loyalty members. All right. So automations, I've kind of talked a little bit about this, but automations are essentially a sequence of events that you create to help execute your business processes. So if you think about an automation as an assembly line and you have a conveyor belt, you can add as many workstations to that as you please. And these events occur at those different workstations. Sometimes those are called actions. So when you activate an automation, you in essence power up the stations and turn on the conveyor belt that moves the contacts from action to action, station to station until they reach the end of the sequence. So an example of that would be a welcome email series. When someone first signs up to your list, you want, that's when they're most excited to hear from you. And so you can send out right away an email that introduces yourself and maybe gives a discount off first purchase. A day later, you could send a second email that tells your brand story. Another day later, you could send a story, another email that asks them to connect on social media. And that would be an example of an automation. So some things to think about when you're going to be setting up a CRM would be, what are the different stages of your sales process? So when people go from becoming a lead all the way to becoming a customer, what does that process look like? And are there specific kind of buckets or stages that you can identify? So there's the sales process, but what is the current process that prospects flow through? So do they have to phone first? Are they able to fill out a form to become a lead? Once that happens with the HVAC company, for instance, there was an on-site visit that needed to happen before the proposal could be sent out. So it's a good idea to think about what that looks like and how people move through that flow. And then the next thing to ask yourself is, what touch points can be automated? Is there any part of your sales process that can be automated? For me, on an e-com retail side, I give 15% off discount on first. I give a 15% discount on someone's first purchase. I have that automated where people can sign up on my site, they get added to the CRM, and then my welcome email series goes out, and the very first email delivers that coupon code. There's other ways that you can automate that sales process as well, especially in the B2B space. All right. Another thing to think about is, are there any software integrations that will save time and money, or are there any integrations that you need to think about when choosing a CRM? Ones that you use in-house, like say you use QuickBooks for your accounting and you want to be able to link your CRM to QuickBooks. That would be something that you would want to look into ahead of time. Another integration that you see often is being able to integrate with different social media accounts. So if you're really active on Facebook and Instagram, you might want to be able to create custom audiences within the Facebook Ads Manager to be able to run ads to your audience on Facebook or Instagram. And then also, the next thing to think about is, how easy will it be to implement your new CRM, and how will staff transition? So one of the things that we say in the digital marketing world is that progress, not perfection. And so you don't have to wait until absolutely everything is done, you can look at the different stages of your sales process and launch in phases. And oftentimes, if you have a larger staff, or maybe say you have a staff that aren't super savvy with softwares, you might want to do it in stages that allow them to kind of get their bearings before you dump a whole bunch of new processes on them. So if I were to launch in stages, maybe I would say, okay, well, we have the lead gen and part of it. So we're going to get people added to the CRM, but then the salespeople will continue it after that. We'll add a welcome email series, we'll do that. And then maybe a second phase would be to add additional parts of that sales process. All right, so oftentimes CRMs nowadays, they'll also do email marketing. So they'll be both, but there are CRMs that are strictly just for customer management. But I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing automation, because you'll find that a lot of times they do both. So when it comes to marketing automation, it really enables businesses to automate tasks and workflows. It helps prospect and customer profiling. It helps you to send out automated personalized emails. An example of that would be with an active campaign, they have site tracking where you can install it on your site. And so you can automate emails to go out to people based on how they're interacting with your site if they're on your email list. So say a contact visited a page 3 times, a product page 3 times that they didn't purchase. We could say wait 24 hours and then send them a 15% off coupon. And so you can get really personalized, or you can keep it, as basic as you want. So marketing automation helps you to also support lead nurturing and customer engagement. And so the way that businesses can use marketing automation, a few examples would be to automatically send invoices and payment reminders. It can help to streamline social media posting. It can help onboarding new clients and staff. I just recently sold my agency, but I did own a marketing agency for 10 years. And part of onboarding new clients, especially with website projects, would be to add them to the CRM. And as soon as we added the tag website project started, there was a whole series of emails that went out. The first one gave a link, thank you for starting a project. It gave a link to our website intake form. If that form wasn't filled out after a week, we would follow up with them. Once the form was filled out, then we were able to send them a link to book in the project kickoff meeting, and all of that could happen automatically. So our project managers didn't have to spend so much time doing that stuff that was really repetitive, but was so essential to make sure a project moved forward. And then it also helps you to automate and target marketing. So this was a stat, and I'd love to know, you may maybe put it in the comments. This is a prediction that a popular marketer said, was that by 2021, 85% of customer relationships with businesses will be managed without human interaction. So if you think that's true now that we're in 2022, I'd love to get your feedback on that. I personally don't think that we have that much automated, and I don't think, even though CRMs are great and automation is awesome because it saves you time, I think that there's always a need for human touch. But this is an interesting stat here. 74% of marketers say that they have a competitive advantage in customer engagement and loyalty, and 55% say they have increased revenues by implementing marketing automation. And I can say that this is very much true for my clients, and even for myself personally, especially in the retail e-com industry. It's quite useful to have marketing automation in place. So now I'm going to talk about some different platforms and platforms for different goals. And so when you think of a CRM, sometimes there's CRMs that are true CRMs like Salesforce, and then there's some that are hybrid. And then there's some that are more so email marketing platforms. And so if you're looking for an email marketing platform, some platforms that do email are ActiveCampaign. There's MailChimp, which if you're just getting started with email marketing, MailChimp is a good option. It's very user-friendly and it's free for up to 2,000 subscribers. You can send 2 campaigns a month with up to 2,000 subscribers for free with MailChimp. Another platform is Drip, which is quite popular. There's Klaviyo, which I showed you an example of at the beginning of this workshop. It works really well with e-commerce stores. There's HubSpot, and then there's Gmail. Gmail isn't used for mass emailing, but it is an email platform that does allow you to have saved templates and to be able to schedule and automate some emails as well. So when it comes to a CRM, some CRM examples are ActiveCampaign. So you'll see ActiveCampaign fell under the email and the CRM. HubSpot, Salesforce, which for most small businesses, Salesforce is probably overkill. There's Salesflare, which works really well if you're kind of like a one-person kind of sales. If there's only one salesperson, it's more of a one-to-one sales CRM. There's Honeybook, which works really well if you do services like wedding photography, that type of thing where you're in a book, have contracts, want to take payments. It does it all within there. It allows you to create forms that you add to your website. And then there's Jobber, which is more like the construction industry. So when using a software that combines a CRM and email marketing, the email marketing functionality, it makes marketing that much easier, just because it really allows you to take the data that would be within a CRM and be able to marry that with email marketing and even SMS text message marketing and be able to combine those two so that you're sending out automations and emails and these touch points with people. And so another really interesting thing about CRMs and email marketing, and really the way that it makes marketing easier, is also when it comes to paid traffic. So if you run any kind of paid ads, I can have my email list synced with Facebook, who also owns Instagram, and then Google, who also owns YouTube, and I can show ads specifically to people that are on my list. All right, so I'll go through some different examples of automations that you might want to set up in your CRM. So there's onboarding emails. So this would be when you send out a series of emails to new contacts, clients, or even employees. And this really helps to remove tedious explanations of tasks from staff over and over again, kind of like when I described the website project automation. When using this for a front end for like a B2C, here's an example. Typically, you would have step one would be an opt-in. Somewhere on your site, you would have a form where people can sign up to your email list. From there, you would have what's called a welcome email series. Sometimes you'll hear that called an indoctrination series. And so the second step is to send out an email for this client. They gave a $15 off a purchase of $50 or more, and they sent out that coupon code in their first email. On day two, they would get a second email, which would drive people to traffic to their blog posts where they gave DIY tips. On day three, they would invite people to connect on social media. And then in the first email, when they sent out the coupon code, they had it valid for 30 days. And so on day 20, they would send out a fourth email saying, hey, if you haven't used your coupon code yet, it's going to expire in 10 days. And so that would kind of give people a reminder, hey, yeah, I do want to save $15 on a purchase of $50 or more. And so it would just be a reminder to use that coupon code. When it comes to automations, you might want to set up an accounting software that automatically sends out invoices and reminders. And it could also have payroll managed and automatically submit to the government. When it comes to email replies and follow-ups, You can create standard responses that you find yourself retyping over and over again. You can also set reminders to automatically follow up in a certain number of days. I do this a lot in G Suite or Gmail, where I do have responses saved so that it just kind of saves me having to retype those messages over and over again. So some other automation examples would be scheduling. So you can have people book online and then send automated reminder emails based on their appointment so that you can minimize no-shows. You can also take payments or deposits upfront for paid services and allow customers to reschedule appointments online. All right, so I'm going to go through a few CRM workflow examples to just give you an idea of some of the things that can be set up within a CRM. So this example is a sales and a lead gen example. This is for a car dealership. And so this actually goes out after someone purchases a vehicle. So yes, you can have all of these automations at the front end trying to convert leads into customers, but follow-up emails after sales have been made are one of the most important things, because for this example, it's a car dealership. And when I met with the owner of the dealership, I said, where do you find that things fall off the most? And he said, man, I really feel like the salespeople don't spend enough time following up with people that have purchased a vehicle if they want to trade in after a certain amount of time. And so I said, okay, well, we can probably send out a thank you email series. And so when someone gets added to the customer email list, they, in the CRM, the CRM would wait one day, and then they would send out an email. This email would go out based on the salesperson that's assigned to them. So it would look, it would come from that salesperson specifically. And it would say, congratulations on your new vehicle. Within that email, they would ask for a Google review. There was some other information in there about warranties and all that fun stuff. They would wait 3 days, and then they would send out an email from the owner. So this would be a second thank you email that would go out specifically from the dealership owner saying thank you. Then we would wait a few more days. We would send out another email. This one says 60 days, but we ended up switching that to 90 days, where it says, hey, it's been 3 months. I hope you're still loving your vehicle. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Also, would you leave us a Google review? And then we would wait 300 days. And then it would send an email being like, are you still loving your vehicle? Are you thinking about wanting to do a trade-in? So that's one example of how you can send a thank you email series. So this is another one that is actually on the back end. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of people put a lot of focus into front end marketing, but I would like you to think about who you serve and how can you follow up with them and keep that connection going with them after you've made a sale with them. So this is an example of a home renovation company. After someone's done a renovation, they would get added to this list, or sorry, it started when the project was started. So a team member in-house would fill out a form, add the customer to a list, and then the first email that would go out would say, hey, you're starting a project with us. Here's some things that you should know. We're going to be on site. It's going to be messy. We're going to try to be there between these hours. And then we linked to a blog post that had even more information for them to know. Then they would wait in queue. So this wasn't a set amount of time. We told the system, now wait until the tag is added, project completed. So once they were tagged with project completed, then they were sent an email. Here's your certificate of completion. They used to send out these certificate of completions by like regular mail before this. So they would print out a certificate, they would need to write on the date, they would, put it in the post and send it out. But now they do it all digitally, and we're able to send out the date automatically because the CRM can take today's date and put it on the certificate within the email. So we send a certificate of completion. Within that, we ask for a Google review. We would wait 3 months, ask them if they're still enjoying their Renovation, again, follow up with a Google review request. Then we would wait 75 days. This particular client was, they're an Air Miles partner. And so they would follow up after 75 days and say, hey, you already did one project with us. If you're looking to start another renovation project, maybe you did your kitchen before and now you're ready to do your bath, we'll give you a bonus allotment of Air Miles for starting a new project. So that's an example of an automation on the home renovation side. All right, so this next example is a service-based example. This was for an employment agency. So this was when, so typically when someone would come on site, they would need to get assigned to like a placement worker, but they wouldn't be able to see them right away. And so they would get added to the system, they would meet with the worker, and then this automation would happen after that first meeting. So the person would add the client and the first email would get sent after that meeting. So almost right away, you can see that there's no trigger to wait there. And basically it's just an intro meeting. Hey, this is what we covered in the first meeting. This is what to expect. And then when they filled out the form, adding this person to the system, they would add in when their next appointment date was. And they would wait until that appointment date plus 1 day. And so after that date, the employee would say whether they showed or didn't show. And so if they did show, they would send a second email saying, you know, to follow up, these are all the things that we covered in the second meeting. This is how I'm going to help you with your job search. Here's a few blog posts and resources about getting your resume set up and all that fun stuff. They would wait 10 days and then they would send a second email. If the person no-showed, then they would send out an email saying, hey, you didn't show up for your appointment, but I would still love to meet with you. So please give me a call. Here's my contact information and we'll try to get you back in for an appointment. So that's another example of how you can follow up with people. This potentially, they didn't use an online booking software in-house, but if they did, we would be able to integrate that with the booking functionality so that a lot of this would happen automatically as opposed to there being some of those manual steps. All right. So another type of automation that isn't really about a flow, but can be set up in an email or CRM are birthday clubs or birthday emails. So people love to be able to get gifts on their birthday. And this is something that we set up for a client where on their birthday, because they joined the birthday club, they would get a coupon code. It would typically get sent out, you know, a week before their birthday saying, hey, your birthday's coming up, happy birthday. Just so you know, if you're going out to celebrate, please come to the restaurant and we'd love to be able to give you a free piece of cake on your birthday. What worked really great about this is that people don't typically go out to eat by themselves on their birthday. And so they gave a free piece of cake with the purchase of an entree, but typically they would get multiple people inside the restaurant for that one seating. So it works really well. Another thing that you can do with a CRM and automation is to be able to build up loyalty systems, reward systems, where you help or you give points based on people purchasing, kind of like how I mentioned for my e-commerce company. We have a loyalty club, and so we give points based on different purchases, and then within the CRM, we're able to follow up with them based on how they're engaging with it. All right, so Wi-Fi marketing is really neat if you're a local business and you have a location on site. Wi-Fi marketing is where people can, to get access to the Wi-Fi, they need to log in either through their Facebook or opt in to your email list. And with this Wi-Fi marketing for this particular restaurant, people would sign up to the email list to get access to the Wi-Fi. And then 30 minutes after they left, we would send them this email where we would ask them, say, thank you, would you recommend us to a friend? If yes, it brought them to Google to leave a review. If no, it brought them to a page on their site where they could get feedback in private. A couple of kind of retail e-commerce examples would be a cart abandonment flow. So if someone comes to your site, adds things to the cart, but then they don't complete purchase, you can send them an email being like, hey, I think you forgot something. Another example would be a customer win back. So if somebody purchased from you, but they didn't in a certain amount of time, you could send them an email automatically saying, hey, I miss you. Here's a coupon code for your next purchase. And then there's post-purchase follow-ups. And so these are emails that typically often happen automatically. It can be an email that has the receipt. There's various emails that go out, shipping reminders. You can have those automated, but then you can also say, if it's say a customer's first purchase, you can then tell them, you know, thank you for becoming a new customer. Or if it's say their second or more purchases, you can be like, thank you so much for the continued support, and you can send them messages based on that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is switch over to just a couple of examples, because I just want to show you the process that I go through when mapping out a CRM. So can you just let me know, I think I shared my whole desktop. So can you let me know if you see the flow example?
Yeah, we could see the, and then we see the notes on the sides.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just kind of zoom in here. All right. So when it comes to mapping out a CRM, I had mentioned that one of the first things that you want to do is to look at your sales pipeline or your sales process and look at the different stages that people go through. So you can see this example. This is for that HVAC company. The first thing that they identified that happens is that a new lead would come in. So this can happen through various ways: phone, email, website, referral, walk-ins. The next thing would be people scheduling an appointment for that site visit. The site visit will happen. They would present a quote. They would present a contract if they wanted to move forward. And then the deal would either be won or lost. So knowing that, the next thing that we do is to then say, what are, so those are the stages. What is the process that people go through? So here, we would say, okay, when a new lead is generated, a new salesperson needs to be assigned. This is going to send that salesperson a notification email saying, hey, you have a new lead. Then it'll also send the prospect an email with an introduction from that salesperson with a request to book an appointment. We would wait 2 days and we would say, was the appointment booked? And so this was integrated with their booking software. If they said, no, it hasn't been booked, we would send them another email that would be a follow-up request. And then again, 2 days later, if they still hadn't booked, we would then have a salesperson notified, hey, give this person a call because your lead is going cold. But say after the 2 days, the appointment was booked, okay, perfect. Then we would send them an email that is, hey, we're doing a site visit, here's what to expect. We would wait until that site visit happened, or we would wait until the day that the site visit's going to happen, and we would send them a booking reminder. From there, the site visit appointment would happen. From there, we would wait a certain amount of days, and then we would ask if the quote would be presented, and then we would ask, has the contract been presented? If it's no, then we would tell the salesperson to follow up and see if they have any questions. If it's yes, we would ask them if they have any questions about the contract and moving forward. And then from there, we would ask if the deal's won or closed. There's a few other follow-up emails here that the salesperson would be created tasks to follow up with these people if they kind of won or lost. So if the deal was marked closed or lost, the prospect would be added to the main list, the main email list, or we offered the client an opportunity to add them to a win back email series. If the deal was won, we would wait so many days, and then we would send them an email starting a project with our company. Here's what to expect. So when you go through, remember we talked about tags, segments, emails. I'm not going to read everything that's on this page because it's quite a lot, but just to give you an idea, we would look at all the different stages then and say, what is the information that we want to collect at this stage, or what are the different things that we want to happen? So if a new lead is generated, well, the client wanted to know, where did that lead come from? Was it email? Was it a website? Was it an ad? We would mark that in. And if we wanted to add that to a contact, we could add that as a custom field. We would want to know the project type and then add tags to these people based off that. We would want to make sure that the salesperson's assigned and notified. And also, if the source and project type are not available, we'll want the salesperson to be assigned a task to find that out at that site visit. So you can see we're starting off with a pretty high level flow of these are just the stages, and then creating a flow of what's going to happen at these stages, and then taking each of those flows and saying, is there tags? Is there ways that we need to identify? What are the emails that are going to happen? It's a good idea to flow through that. So you can see here under the appointment booked, that if it's booked, the sales team, that they'll get moved to the appointment booked section of the sales funnel. And so you'll kind of want to go through, if you're mapping out your CRM, really flow through and take it step by step. So one of the number one things that I ask, and I'll stop sharing that right now. One of the things that you want to do is, what's going to happen? Ask yourself that and then write it down. And then ask yourself, and then what? And then write it down. And then what? And then what? Because oftentimes there's all of these little things that happen along the way that just take notes, and you'll essentially have your sales process. And then you can say, which part of these should have a human touch, and which part of these can we automate to save time? And there's always going to be parts of it where you're going to want to, have that human touch. But then there's parts where, like the dealership follow-up, well, a salesperson would have to put a notification in their calendar to follow up with someone a year later, and then be able to have the time in the day to be able to do that. Those are things that you can automate. So when you're planning a CRM, it's definitely a good idea to look and see what information that you need to track, and then also what ways can a CRM work for you to make your job and your life easier. So that's essentially everything that I had to cover today. I would love to answer questions and see what everyone is thinking about.
If anybody, has any questions, please feel free. You can unmute yourselves right now and you can ask, or if you still want to use a text chat, we could do that. I just want to go back to actually the text chat because, sorry, I've got to put these on one more time. I can't see. Brenda had a question. She said, what platforms do you recommend for those of us doing B2C service? She said, I had Infusionsoft for a while, way too pricey and big for me. Before that, High Rise, and then Connectually, which I found to be the best until I started breaking down the price and it went up. But now I just use Airtable for my keynote speaking, and my new email marketing platform tracks things well, but I don't think I can add in notes, etc.
So for B2C, I would probably say something like ActiveCampaign would be a good platform, depending on what business type you are. HoneyBook is a good one too, especially if you need to do contracts or custom quotes. Those two work well, and it does allow you to create notes and on the clients and notes on the deals and stuff like that. So I don't know particularly what your business is, but those two work really well. I love Airtable, by the way. I'm a big time Airtable geek. So I love that you're using Airtable, and Airtable does within the automations have the capability to send out emails automatically based on different things that happen within the table, but it wouldn't be like tracking contacts like a true CRM.
Thanks. I'm a keynote speaker and singer and healer. Um, yeah, so it's consumer based. But I'm using Drip and I love it. I am not the expert at that. My VAs are. So and they're just learning it too. Huge team transition right now, but I find Drip very user friendly, very easy to.
Hmm.
I love that it's so visual. You can really lay out the workflows and see what they are, but technical stuff is still beyond me. So I have to kind of figure out like how can like do you know if Drip can even integrate with things like Calendly? So if someone books an appointment with me for a breakthrough session, for example, like can that be tracked?
So within Drip, and I haven't used Drip at length, but it is a really popular platform. I believe you can integrate the two, and I just found it. I just did a quick Google search. So you can connect it and you can trigger automations based on it. So it would be interesting to see if within Drip, if you can add those custom fields to contacts, just like I showed at the beginning of the presentation. And if you can, you could probably create like a custom field that's next appointment date, where every time they book through Calendly, it adds that date on. So that way you can either trigger emails based on that or be able to view it when you're viewing the contact.
Okay,
But
thanks.
yeah, Drip's a really user-friendly platform though. So if your VAs know how to use it and they're getting along, then I would say stick with Drip, just because switching platforms is not all that fun once
No,
you get into it. So
you
if you
just
have
can't.
something that's working, yeah.
Well, when I asked the question original, to be honest, I was thinking that when you were talking about CRM, you're talking about something like the big beast of Infusionsoft or something that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with email marketing. So this is great presentation. Thank you. And thanks for answering the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, some of the bigger true CRMs like Infusionsoft or Salesforce, they're just so robust and they're really more for like enterprise level clients. The things that they can do, you'll use such a small percentage of the feature set that it becomes really expensive. There's much better priced platforms that are going to be more nimble and user friendly for what you're trying to achieve. I see here that Teresa asked
Yeah.
what software I was using to create the workflows. It's just Google Slides. I have used over the years so many different mind map softwares. I've used Lucidchart, which I really like. I've done funnel flows. I've done all different kinds of things, but I just switched to Google Slides, and it's like PowerPoint, and I find that to be the easiest. One, it's really quick and easy for me to put it together. I can duplicate a slide deck really fast. Two, people know how to use it, so there isn't like a learning kind of process with people that I have to share them with. And most people know how to comment on Google Docs, like different Google documents. So it's easy for when I send it to a client or need people to get feedback for them to leave comments on it as well. So yeah, it's a Google slide.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any other questions that they have? Go ahead, Carmen.
Hi, Monique. Do you have any experience with Groove?
Groove, is that part of the whole Groove funnels?
Yeah.
So I actually have a lifetime license to Groove. I did play around with it when it was still very beginning beta, but at that time I didn't have the time to invest in it because it had a bit of bugs, but I've been seeing more and more people migrating over to it. But it's quite neat how they've built like a whole ecosystem between the websites and the emailing and everything else. So it's really neat how it's all integrated, which would definitely save time and development costs of having to integrate them all. And it's getting to, when I purchased it, it was still very much beta, but it seems to be more secure now that I logged into it actually for the first time in months just the other day to kind of play around. I was like, oh, wow, it's come a long way, but I don't have a ton of experience in it other than just kind of playing around. But now I'm starting to feel more confident in doing it because I do so much for clients. I always want to make sure that the platforms that I'm choosing are really kind of secure, so that way I don't leave anybody with disappointment. But yeah, so did you get in on the lifetime license?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I created a course through there, and I didn't trust their email marketing, and I'm glad because it ended up going down for a chunk of time. So I'm still kind of integrating with MailChimp and stuff. Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you sold your marketing business. Are you still doing stuff personally, or and if not, like, who would you recommend to get some help with setting up automations?
Yeah, so I had an agency, Geronimo Digital Solutions. I just recently sold that, and then I've launched Big Ups Consulting. And so how that kind of came about is I've been a coach with Wozen and SVX. They're based in Southern Ontario, and they help primarily women and non-binary led social enterprises. And so I've been a coach with them for the last 2 years, and I was like, you know what? I want to focus just on women and non-binary clients. And so that's where Big Ups kind of came to be. So I still offer those services through Big Ups, but I've just kind of refined who I serve. So I still do all the same things, just very specifically the type of people that I work with.
Thank you.
Great. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, well, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you so much, Monique, for coming in and presenting to us today. There's a lot of information and a good way of being organized and having everything in place. So one more thing. Oh, thanks, Monique. So have a great day, everyone. Yeah, for sure. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming in today. And just as a side note, if anybody wants to attend our event coming up next Thursday, if you go to the pero.ca page, it's on there. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Jane Goodall, and we have a couple of panels on growth and financing, our awards, and a lot of networking. So if you wanted to come, we would love to have you, and the event is free. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And thanks again, Monique. Really appreciate that. And have a great day, everybody. Thank you.